This is my brand new laptop. It's a Razer Blade 14 2021, which I never thought I'd buy, but I got it brand new, cheap on Facebook Marketplace off of a guy for half price, literally. And so this is replacing my G14 that I had. This specs of this has the 1440p monitor. I believe it's 165 hertz on this screen here. I have to check that. I'll put it on the screen if it's wrong. This one has the 3080 RTX 3080 GPU, which is really nice. And it has, a Ryzen 5900HX and 16 gigabytes of memory. So, yep, so it's a really good laptop. I did some skinning here. And I'm going to compare in this video this laptop here to the 2021 G14, Zephyrus G14 highest end model, which is the 3060, RTX 3060, the 5900HS, 32 gigabytes of memory and Animatrix. So that's the laptop that I had before, and I'm going to be comparing it to this laptop in the video. And they're kind of similar. They compete. This is a vastly more expensive laptop. I ended up paying about the same for both, but yeah, enjoy. So, the unboxing experience is not up to par with the G14, but that's fine. It's actually really heavy. It's just documentation. That's that. Okay. So, let's have a quick look at it. This is the G14. I was actually eyeing the G14 2022, which is really nice because it has a better screen, a 500 nit screen, the better aspect ratio, which I prefer. But, it would have been more expensive than this Razer and less powerful technically because this is a 3080, even though the CPU would have been better. But they're exactly the same size that way, more or less. The Razer is thinner, absolutely. Not that the G14 is a thick laptop, but it's not like an Ultrabook. It's thin enough, I guess. Yeah, really nice. So I just wanted to do a quick comparison. People can look up the specs of these machines and know, there's dozens and dozens of reviews. The Zephyrus has this nice little lift where the screen actually works as a lift. The heat does blast into the screen here on this, but from what I've seen online, it doesn't matter. Keyboard layouts are the same. This one has two speakers here. G14 here, let's see. There we go. Two speakers here, which sound pretty good, and it has some bass on the bottom. This has the fans. Looks like it doesn't have any down-firing speakers, so it's just the up-firing. I don't know if that'll be better or worse. Maybe less bass because it's not going to be sitting on a table, but it should be fine. Both have really good screens. This is a, can't remember offhand, I'll put it on the screen if I'm wrong, but I think it's a 120 hertz. Might be 165, but I think it's 120 hertz monitor. 1440p, it's great. 300 or so nits. This is the same, around 300 or so nits measured, 1440p, 165 hertz apparently. The I/O on this is power, HDMI, USB-C with I think power delivery on that one. Another USB-C, actually that's another USB-C, and USB Type A, second USB Type A. This one here, power USB Type A, so there's that on this side which wasn't on the other one, and C, so the HDMI is not over here but the other stuff is. Another USB Type A, so the same, and C HDMI, so you get the same number of overall ports, they're just set up different locations. Okay, and I want to talk about a few different other things I've noticed with these laptops. I've been using the Razer now for a day. Actually, I've come back now. I wanted to actually play around with it, so I wanted to look at the keyboards, compare them, and also the screens in that too. So the keyboard here, I'll just give a quick typing test. So very, very low amount of key travel because they're actually low profile keys. There's not a lot of travel. I know I'll get used to it. I've only typed actually a little bit on it. I know eventually I'll get used to it. It still feels good. It is a really nice low profile keyboard. One of the better ones I've ever used. But compared to the G14, it's just not as good. So Some people may prefer one or the other. I like the G14 because it has literally taller keycaps and there's more key travel, and it's got a little bit more tactility to it, a little bit more bump. You can definitely feel where the rubber dome pops on this. For rubber domes and scissor switch, they both feel pretty tactile. This is a better keyboard, hands down, no question. And the G14 2022 that I've seen is even better, but this is really good. This is fine. So that's that. The trackpad on this is smaller on the G14 2021, but it has a legitimate glass top. It feels better. It feels very smooth when you go across it. Very precise. It just feels excellent. One of the best feeling trackpads I've used, and has a really nice click to it. The Razer, it says it's a glass top. I don't know what that means because it does not feel. It feels like plastic, but I don't know. Maybe it's glass, but it feels like plastic to me. It's bigger. The precisionness of it is the same, but it just doesn't feel quite as nice when you're clicking. It's kind of, I don't know, mushy or something. It's fine. I mean, it's not bad, but doesn't feel as good. So this has the better trackpad, even though it's smaller. I'm sure the G14 2022 with the bigger trackpad is going to be obviously vastly better. So that's that. So we'll just look at the screen here. So there is a bit of a difference. I'm not going to go super into the specs, but the G14 has a 120 hertz refresh rate, which is more than enough for games. This has 165, which is, to be honest, overkill. You can run it also at 120, but I mean, technically it's better if you're playing fast twitch shooters. Technically that's better. The one thing that is different is the Razer has a better RGB coverage. It just has better colors overall. If you look at the numbers, you can look up the stats. It's a better screen. The colors and productivity is more accurate on this. This still is a good screen. It's good for a laptop, but it's nothing special. The brightness is more or less the same. I think technically the Razer is a little bit higher. It goes up to, I think, I'll put on the screen, I think it's 400 nits, and this is 300 to 320. That's the stats. They're always getting measured differently, but the Razer is brighter, absolutely. It's a faster screen, and it has a faster refresh rate, and it also has better colors technically. So they're both fine though. Like, to be honest, they're both great. The Razer has a lower end screen if you get the 1080p. I've seen online it's much worse. So definitely get the 1440p. The G14 also has, I believe it has a different screen. But why would you do that? So I really like 1440p laptops, at least at this size. I just prefer it for productivity. So you can decrease the resolution if you want for games, but I really prefer it. So yeah, the screens are really, really nice regardless. Okay, so here we are, and this is like a little Samsung video. I left my light on intentionally, so you can see here the colors are a little bit washed out, and it's a little bit like, look at the difference on those two screens. So, I mean, if I turn off the lights, it's even more obvious, but most people would be using a laptop in a well-lit room, and you can see how much better the Razer screen is. So this is not a bad screen, not by any means, but you can just see it's more washed out, lower contrast, and it's a bit less brightness, but yeah, you can see, look at the contrast difference. Okay, so here we are. I'm just going to do this lo-fi thing, and we'll see how they both sound. And let's actually start with them at 40%. I'm going to just mute them both, and we'll start with the G14. So this is just 40% volume. So decent bass. Sounds really good. So 40% at the G14 is louder. I don't know if it's better, but it's definitely louder. for sure there's more bass on the G14. Let's turn this up. 60. So this one only has the 2 speaker grills here. The G14 has the speakers here, which are closer to tweeters, and then it has down-firing, I wouldn't call them subs, but sound. So the upper range and the mid is nice, but there's not really any bass. Okay, we'll go back to the G14. This is 40, this is 60. This is louder at 40 than that is at 60. You're just getting crushed, to be honest. But this is 60, this is 40. 40 is louder on the G14 substantially, and it sounds better. Like 100%. 100% isn't even as loud as 60 on the Blade, I would say. I'm not looking at decibels, but just what I hear. There's almost no bass. So again, this is 1440p ultra settings. Uncapped frame rate, so 120, but there's no way we're going to get 120. So I'm going to consider that uncapped. Just have a look at it. And you can hear the noise. Okay, so it looks like we're getting 65. Okay, we dropped down FPS. We're still getting 60 FPS even though we're at 1440p. This is a 3060. GPU is being maxed. CPU is not being maxed. Obviously in this game, this is a much more GPU bound game. So 1440p, ultra presets, 60 FPS. Let's go. Just gonna use the mouse, it's easier. Go to settings, graphics. Let's set it up a little bit higher, and this is gonna be ridiculous, but okay. Oh, so apparently it doesn't run with ultra presets. 8 gigabytes. This is an 8 gigabyte VRAM. Apparently it doesn't work. So we're gonna get slightly lower than optimal performance because of that. But we'll see. It seems to be working. It looks terrible though. Yeah, that's garbage. So ultra presets are, I don't know if you guys can see, it's hard to see on camera, but it looks just awful. At least to my eyes, I can pick it up that it's just really hitching. It's not just that the FPS is below 60. I mean, I can see that, but there's some kind of weird stutter and visual funkiness going on with the plants. Laptop's not overly hot. There's a bit of heat up here for sure, near the vents. It's warm here to the touch. Absolutely, it's warm. Keyboard is warm, but you know, it's not gross at all. So I could type on it like this. You know, I could have my hands on here. It wouldn't get super gross and sweaty. Up here, it's super hot, but yeah, it's good. So there you go. AAA gaming, 1440p, ultra presets, relatively brand new game, well optimized though, and works great on a 3060 with this machine here. Let's test it on the Razer Blade. Alright, so here we are on the Razer Blade 14, and let's check the video settings. So because this is a 165 Hertz refresh rate monitor, whereas the G14 was 120, we can see here that it's going up to 165. Obviously, Forza recognizes your max refresh rate and just, you know, caps the FPS at that because there's no point going beyond that. There's no way we're going to get that high, but that's fine. So we'll just leave that there. Graphics, we're going to start with Ultra. It can go higher. The preset was actually extreme, unlike the G14. So we're going to leave it on Ultra, and we'll go with that, and we'll see what we're at for FPS. Okay, so here we are in the game. And we're looking at about 75 to 80 FPS, or higher than that, I guess. Wow, so we're up to, oh, okay, we're quite a bit higher than the G14. We're getting up to about 90 or so, and we're consistently above 80. Let's try to freak out the graphics card a little bit here. That doesn't seem to bother it. Guess it's back here where it's a little bit worse, but yeah, we're sitting at easy above 80 consistently. And one thing I want you to notice right now, I'm going to shut up for a second, but listen to the fans and how quiet they are. Might be exaggerated on the camera, but it's actually pretty quiet, to be honest. Substantially quieter than the G14. And you can see there the VRAM is only utilized 67%, so we can definitely go higher. On the G14, it only has the 3060s only has 6 GB of VRAM, so this setting here would get close to maxing it out, and that's why when I went up to the extreme settings on the 3060 on the G14, it threw a warning because we were getting, we're maxing out that VRAM. Whereas on this, in theory, I doubt we're going to exceed the VRAM capacity of 8 GB. Okay, so here we are in game. Same settings. So up to 165 hertz, which is 165 FPS, which is not going to reach obviously. And we're at 80, about 80 on average. Beautiful colors on the screen as well. Better than the G14. G14 looks great too, but this just has killer colors. So we're dipping down to around approximately 70 or so at the low end. So yeah, we're going up 10 to 15 FPS or so. I'll turn the volume down on the game. You can hear how quiet the fans are going, which is actually surprising to me. We're at 100% GPU and pretty up there on the CPU, and it's very quiet. It's getting a little bit louder. I'm trying to make it get noisy. It's a little bit louder. Definitely quieter than the G14. Absolutely quieter. It just has an easier time, I guess, with the vapor chamber keeping itself from getting super noisy. The G14 is a fairly quiet laptop, but the fans do like to turn on all the time, which was kind of annoying. But so my takeaway, having these two laptops, if you're a consumer and you have some degree of budget, I actually wouldn't recommend the Razer. It is definitely a premium laptop. There really is no more powerful laptop you can get in 14 inches in such a slim case. But it's it's $4,000 Canadian for this model, this top model, and then there's the new one, the 2022, which I believe is the same price for the top model. You can't even get 32 gigabytes of memory in this, so you're stuck with 16, which is fine for gaming, but for productivity it might suck depending on what you're doing. So you're paying a lot of money for it. It does have some benefits. It has this one here has a 3080, and it's a 100 watt 3080, so it works really well, and you're getting substantially more performance out of this than a G14 with 3060, and even the new G14 2022s that are coming out, even with the highest end 6800S, in most cases the 3080 is going to be more powerful. So the CPU between the two is irrelevant. Not really going to be any difference there. So the main difference here is you're getting a substantially better graphics card and a better screen, better colors on the screen, better refresh rate. So that's that, and it's slimmer. It is quite a bit slimmer. The weight is the same, but slimmer. So you were paying a lot of money, but you do get a lot of premium features. However, you compromise a few things. So inferior keyboard to the G14, in my opinion. Some people may prefer it. I think the G14 is slightly better. There's no debate on the sound. The G14 has way better audio. It's much louder, and it has substantially more bass. So, it's no contest. It's a way better audio there. You're definitely compromising on this. I assume they're probably thinking most users are going to be using headphones. So, save some money there, but I think that's bullshit. Just put in some better speakers. It's not a big deal. Macs are thinner and have way better sound. And this is a bigger chassis, and it has more speakers. So, of course, it's going to sound better, but it sounds way better. So, that's a pretty big compromise. And, you know, it's got the trackpad that I prefer, but that's debatable. So, you know, really, the G14 is just way cheaper, and you're getting a 3060. It's still a really capable card. You can do a lot with it. You can play really any game that's out right now with 3060. If you need top of the line, I guess you can get the Razer, but personally it's really expensive. But if you can get it on a good sale like I did, especially with the new 2022s coming out, the last year model, the 2021s, are probably going to start to go on sale. And if you could snag yourself a 3070 or a 3080 model for a good price, you know, I mean, at that point, it's kind of a no-brainer. At the same token, though, these are going on sale now too, so you can start to see these get pretty good prices too. So, you know, you get other cool things like this animatrix thing, which it's not on because it's not powered on. It's not, it doesn't have the AC power, but I mean, if that's something you care about, go for it. I don't, but some people may like that. But yeah, these are two of the best laptops you can get. Kind of mid-range budget. It's high, but not crazy high, and crazy high. Personally, most people I think would be happy with the G14, and I would push them towards the G14. But if you need the absolute best you can get in terms of, look at that, fingerprints, the best you can get in terms of performance and mobility at the same time, you can't beat the Razer. So there you go. Thanks for watching. That's my takeaway.